There and welcome to our discussion on the new moon in Libra with Claire and Jamie. On this, it's actually Sunday, but we're going to talk about the new moon that happened on Saturday, October 14th. So every 2 weeks, we like to discuss the themes and what's coming through with the new and the full moon. Last 2 weeks ago was Aries full moon, and today or yesterday was the new moon, and I'm gonna pass it to Claire to share her thoughts and her sort of approach to understanding what this even means to have a new moon in Libra and how you can interpret it in your own life.
Thank you, Jamie. Well, if you've listened to this before, you've heard me talk about the moon coming first in what we present today. So we're basically telling you about the moon being in a certain sign, and that sign is Libra, the new moon in Libra. But first, I'd like everyone to remember and orient themselves to the moon, which is its own energy. I find that to be the most helpful way to do it, and I do it quite quickly, but so I wanted to just break it down a little bit and help people orient to the moon, which is we're always talking about water, the element of water, when we talk about the moon. We're talking about our emotions, we're talking about the internal, what is invisible to the eye, which when you think about it is a lot of things that most of our lives are composed of things that are not visible with the eye. So all of that gets attributed to the moon in my book. So that's why I pause and say, let's orient ourselves to all that stuff. Some people call it the emotional body. Some people call it what they're struggling with, what their needs are, relationships. I think it's safe to say it's just most of life. So the moon controls the tides of the ocean. It's in my opinion really related to how we're doing as species that are 75% water or something like that. Then when we go into Libra in this conversation, we're talking about an air sign. We're talking about the glyph, which is the scales. So it's an air sign that has to do with thought bringing balance or thought out of balance. The scales don't always reach balance. They reach some kind of equilibrium, but they're not necessarily always equal, what's on either side of the scales. And that's important to consider, as well as the process of balancing is how I think of Libra. I don't think of Libra as the balanced person or the sign of balance. I think of it as the process that goes on in the head, because it's thought when it has to do with air, where we're trying to make sense of something, or we're trying to explain how something does not make sense. And when we start with our emotional body and then we move into a room, let's say, that's all about making sense or not making sense, that's what the new moon in Libra is about. And it's a new moon, so it's about setting intentions. So altogether, I would say this is a time in the year where we can set an intention to allow our emotional body to express itself to us in a way that makes sense for it, so that we put our feelings first, like the moon, and our thoughts second. The thoughts can be very helpful, but we're kind of chasing our own tail if we're not sorting out the right thing. So we might be, for example, putting something on the scales, as it were, and our minds are working really hard to balance something out, like your problems at work or your relationship with your partner. But is what you're weighing out and what you're parsing and trying hard to do, is it the right thing? Is it actually your emotional I propose that in this new moon in Libra, what it's an opportunity to do is to first consider what is it that you'd like to um, feel more balance with, and what will it take to achieve that balance, or what's out of balance, and why is it out of balance, and really be honest about. That's another thing about Libra that I think these scales really represent is honesty. It really is um, easier to organize your life when you're honest with yourself about what it is that's out of balance or in balance. So that's the intention that I would um, encourage people to take advantage of here is to set the intention of allowing your emotional body to speak truthfully to you, and might free you up to get what you need to actually be innovative and try something new in order to achieve your feeling of your needs being met, which is what I think of as the moon in balance. So that's my little 2 cents about the new moon in Libra.
Okay, I thank you. And what I do as Claire is talking, and it's just a suggestion, is use what's occurring in your life, in your relationships, maybe your dreams, and see how this guidance of the energy of the new moon in Libra may help you pause and reflect and respond to life with a little bit more sense of intention, which is the new moon, and direction. But it just gives the intention I have for this whole series that we do is for guidance, is for what do we do with our emotions and our experiences that keep coming through us in different waves throughout the seasons, and putting your own personal experience through the lens of this interpretation, and see how it clarifies for you your intentions for these next 2 weeks. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the full moon, I think in Taurus, in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
All right, everybody. Have a good half moon.
Half moon. See you soon. Or